to introduce you to Alex Chong, which is the director of Venture Cafe Cambridge. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you very much. So we're so excited to have everyone here. Here in Cambridge, I am so happy to have you. Here in Miami, we're really excited to be connected with you. This is the first of its kind for the cafe, and we're really excited to have this conversation today to learn about biotechs in Miami, Boston, and Latin America. So yeah, without further ado, I'd love to pass back to you over in Miami.
Yeah, absolutely. So to give a little bit of context, this is called the Innovation Bridge. Venture Cafe is a global network with 11 locations around the globe, and this is something that we can do. We can actually connect innovators in different cities, and today we have the pleasure to be the host of the 2022 Ganesha BIOHUNT Summit. This is the wrap-up. This is day 2. We've been here since yesterday. We had a unique encounter with investors and startups, and this is the moment we've all been waiting for. I'm going to ask for those in the back, can you hear me? Can I get your attention? Because I can hear you very loud and clear. We'll have some more time to network, so I'm just going to kindly ask you if we can make sure that you pay attention, because we prepare amazing days. So I want to officially welcome to the Innovation Bridge of the Ganesha BIOHUNT Summit.
Video. ¿Cómo lo metes acá al video?
A year ago, we had a vision. We saw the Latin American biotech entrepreneurial community coming together to show the world that innovation is happening no matter where we are. Today, our vision is becoming a reality. Today, we are here in Miami.
Yeah, and here we are. We are in Miami. We are in Boston. Welcome. Welcome everybody to BIOHUNT 2022. We had this vision since last year to show the world that innovation in biotech has to happen and happens everywhere. It does not only happen in Cambridge. Hello, Cambridge! It does not only happen in Cambridge, it happens everywhere. Our vision as a company was that there is an opportunity to transform science into good business. To do this, a lot of things need to happen. And not everybody is as lucky as the entrepreneurs who grow up in Boston or in the Bay Area with all the resources to do this. And this is what we are trying to accomplish, and this is why we brought 26 companies from Latin America to Miami, and 2 of them are now in Boston. You will see them there as well, with the idea to start connecting biotech across the globe. So we started with the Americas. Who knows where we are in 2 years? In Singapore, in Europe. Today, we have the honor to connect Miami and Boston. Boston as the probably still leading biotech ecosystem in the world, which is continuously growing, but we see more and more other hubs coming up, like Miami, like St. Louis, like Austin, and this is very important. But what's about Santiago de Chile? What's about Sao Paulo? What's about Bogota? What's about Mexico? There's a lot happening. And these last 2 days have shown that, and at the end you will get a little bit of wrap up on what happened yesterday and what happened today. 26 companies switched to investors. These startups had already today more than 50 meetings with investors. something which is impossible in Latin America. You won't believe it, but it's impossible. So we are very, very happy. We are very, very happy to have this large group participating here and in Cambridge. And we don't want to lose more time. We want to listen first to 4 examples, 2 female founders from Latin America who set out to impact the life of millions of people. And after that, 2 companies which are here who will also give us a short example of what is possible when you open your mind and target to impact the life of millions of people from wherever you are. So let me welcome the first startup, which will be pitching from Cambridge, BIOHUNT Anastasia. The stage is yours.
Next up is an ice cream that's actually good for you. It really is.
Okay. So I'm Anastasia, I'm from BIOHUNT, and in the next less than 3 minutes I will try to explain you all what we did studies with my parents, more than 40 years right now, about the connection between allergy, your intestinal, and how you can cure your allergy with just ice cream. So 2 months ago, Christine, the mother of 4 years old boy Frank, called to the team BIOHUNT. She asked our help because he was after chemotherapy, and Frank did suffer a lot from multiple allergy, atopic dermatitis, and severe diarrhea. So why did that happen? Because chemo killed Frank's microbiota, and pediatrics recommended to Christine use BIOHUNT. So far, of course, it's a very dramatic story in the history of the project for our team, but this is our everyday story. We are trying to help people, and right now it's very dramatic. 9 out of 10 kids are suffering from any kind of allergies. Some of them have up to 40 allergies just one kid. Why does it happen? Because microbiota is very fragile, and all these little microorganisms who are living with us and are working for us and trying to protect us and create our strong immune system are very easily lost. But what is complicated is to restore microbiota balance, to make them back in high quantity and high biological activity, to come back to work and protect our health. So in BIOHUNT, we put hands and heads fully on this challenge. And we achieve to stabilize specific bacteria, apply them into perfect food that is ice cream. But that's not it. We made our BIOHUNT magic, and somehow bacteria arrived into your intestine and transformed your microbiota, and we achieved to reduce up to 75% of food allergies. We ran trials that did show, for example, that children with severe skin manifestations showed up to 75% reduction of the symptoms. As fast as in 21 days, you could see first visible results. So now we are exporting this technology, how to stabilize bacteria all over the world, to the business in food and supplements who want to lead or maybe to open new category of healing food and supplements. We want to make them powerful and their products really to work with the housing population. Right now, we just, a couple of last months, secured 4-day site, 2 pilot secured in companies, huge giants of the industry. We are now reach round. We are searching for 6,000 donors to come to the United States and become a strong B2B company with amazing patents and strong team and beautiful B2B portfolio. Thank you.
Hi, I am Laura Macio. I am founder and CEO of Metabix Biotech. We discovered that 800 million people suffer from hunger, while 50% of crops and 20% of livestock are losing due to illnesses caused by viruses and bacteria. And these invisible enemies lies and spread through the environment, for example, through the air, water, and soil. This is the reason why we developed a predictive technology for emerging pathogens and microbiological risk for develop hardware, methods, and software in order to detect these pathogens and microbiologicals in the environment before they can make a problem in the animals. These advantages give us the opportunity to understand the epidemiological behavior of some pathogens like virus, influenza, salmonella, and others. And we can be prepared to detect new pathogens. At the same time, we can adapt to the specific problem of different clients. These advantages are strictly aligned with our AP strategy. We combine industrial secrets with patents. For example, we have applied a patent for several countries, including the US. And we have the opportunity to write at least 3 more patents. Our hardware is designed based on some requirements. For example, low-cost production, scalability, and it has to be so simple. Everybody can use it everywhere. The main function of this hardware is take the sample. But once time we have the sample, we can apply PCR, for example, to detect specific problems, or we can apply for metagenomics. This is the opportunity when we can understand all the community that is present on the environment and how they affect the different sectors. This is our great opportunity of disruptive technology. Thank you so much.
Up next in the tank, we have an AI tool that improves diagnosis speeds based on chromosomes by at least 5 times.
Hi everyone, I'm calling from Bali. So imagine you may have leukemia. So you go to your doctor and you're told that you need this cytogenetic study that you may know nothing about, but you're also told that you need to wait 3 weeks to get the results. So you may freak out at this moment because you know that you can't wait for 3 weeks to get the results. So that's what's happening to most leukemia patients around the world, and there's a new case of leukemia every minute. And it is not only leukemia, it is oncology in general, it is fertility problems, it is genetic syndromes, because cytogenetics is the gold standard not only to diagnose but also to indicate treatment for all of them. But the thing is that it has been historically slow and there's no complete automation of the analysis yet. So that's what Rodrigo from our team was suffering as a cytogeneticist in Argentina. Back when I met him, I was doing my PhD in artificial intelligence for computer vision, so we joined forces and we decided to automate cytogenetics with artificial intelligence and on the web, because it's all about segmenting and identifying chromosomes. And that's what we did. We have this platform now where specialists upload their images, they press a button, and in a couple of seconds they receive their predictions from our artificial intelligence models, saving a lot of time. And that worked really great. We have now 7 centers as active users. We have more than 10,000 patients already diagnosed with the platform. And we're offering these functionalities under a monthly subscription. But still, for now, the specialists need to validate and review the results. So if the center doesn't want to do anything of that, we are offering the possibility to upload the images and ask for an external analysis. In the platform, we pay an external specialist to do that in less than 24 hours, and we charge the center as a software as a service per case. So we're building the first cytogenetics network, not just another software tool. We are connecting these people. And we are reducing turnaround times by 50%, and we're going to improve these numbers further in the future. For the next 3 years, we are going to focus on the US, on several countries in Latin America, and also in Spain, because of course, innovation happens everywhere, but also expertise is everywhere. So we want to connect specialists to make the sector more efficient. Together with Rodrigo and myself, there's Emmanuel also in our team. We have more than 20 years of combined experience in cytogenetics, in AI, and also in engineering in general. And we co-founded the company of laboratories in Argentina before, together, where we managed 70 employees. So we have the team, we have the product. I just want to ask you to join us to automate cytogenetics with artificial intelligence anywhere and for good. Thanks.
Next up, our custom bone that can also release medicine.
Thousands of patients suffer every day from different kind of facial defects. The face is the first source of visual contact to people, and it's very sad to be ashamed because of your appearance. Our global lab was founded in 2018 with the mission to bring customized access to prostheses. To bring access to customized health prostheses. This is also entrepreneurship. There's a humans who get nervous in front of such a group, big group. We done anyhow. Congratulations. Congratulations. Yesterday he was a star. Today he got nervous. I think this is also part of the learning when you are suddenly exposed to a very different environment, to different culture. We said it yesterday. When you come from a different country, and I've done that many times in my life, and suddenly you're exposed to a different culture, you feel insecure. And so, unfortunately, this happened today to Ilan, but I can tell you guys, if you have a chance afterwards, walk around, get to know the other startups, get to know Ilan, wonderful people, but also humans. Thank you very much for your understanding. The next part, for the next 40 to 50 minutes, we want to talk about this subject of innovation happens everywhere. And for that, we have invited some speakers who are coming from the entrepreneurship world, who are coming from the investor world, and who have multicultural experience. So I would like to call onto stage, here in Miami, Michael Fenn. Michael, welcome. Take a seat. Who is next? Boya Bossini. You ready? Artie Amurov. Artie, please come. Welcome. Thank you. And last but not least, George Forden, here in Miami. George, thank you. And in Boston, we have to the right, George Estavil. Hi, George. Jose, sorry. Can you hear us? Jose? Can you hear us?
Hear you. Cambridge is here loud and clear.
So,
Make some
okay.
noise.
Jose Estavil, Marta Ortega Valle, and Camino Almandon. And I would ask Michael to start with a short introduction, walk around the stage, introduce yourself shortly before you pick up the topic. And you hand over then to Jose to continue in Cambridge. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Marcus. Really appreciate it. Really a pleasure to be here. It's such an honor. It's such a great time. Meeting so many of you. Ciérrate con el brazo. Rapidito. It's been an awesome couple of days. So today, our panel is here. We call ourselves a biotech lab, having core roots, but also being deeply embedded in the biotech ecosystem, mainly up in Boston and New York. So we're going to talk today a little bit about that. So just want to introduce myself, and I'll let these fellows here also introduce themselves. We'll hand it over to our friends at Cambridge. So I'm Michael Fenn. I'm a venture partner at ISO Ventures. I also work at a small molecule drug discovery company called BIOHUNT Therapeutics. Formerly, I was the head of Department of Innovation Labs at Harvard Biotech Incubator. So really excited to be here
here with everyone. Thanks so much again to the organizing committee for putting this together. Artie Armov, I'm an associate at Champion Venture Partners, USA. We're an early stage therapeutics focused venture capital fund. And I can tell you that I'm also an entrepreneur in residence at the University of Miami, so this is very close and personal to me, I think. Very passionate about growing the ecosystem. We've done a lot of work on the ground to do just that, and events like this are fantastic, enablement to that. So thanks so much.
Hello, everyone. Is this working? Great. All right. George Warren, great to meet you all. Florida born and raised, and ended up making my way up to New York and then Boston. Have been involved in small molecule drug discovery and neuroscience, and then in building companies at Flagship Pioneering, where I met this guy. Flagship, for those who don't know, is the company that founded Moderna and does a lot of internal company creation, specifically focused mostly in the therapeutic space. And then was at a company called Relay Therapeutics, and now most recently have joined a new venture capital firm and accelerator, where we specifically focus therapeutics. We specifically focus on therapeutics companies in the seed stage and help them get to the Series A. And it's a virtual accelerator, so it's meant to enable founders all over the world to plug into the ecosystem to help them get to the next stage. Corey.
Hello everyone, hello Miami, hello Cambridge. Thanks to the organizers, such great event, and for the invitation. Puriya Hossaini, I'm a partner in Camford Capital, co-leading our biotech health investment and portfolio. My background, I lived in Boston for 10 years, Kendall Square, half of it grad school and the other half with great folks like George. He was actually my first mentor. At Flagship for 4 years doing earlier stage company creation in the kind of founder operator capacity. I'm very much looking forward to the conversation today.
Thanks so much. Let me turn it over to our friends in Cambridge so they can introduce themselves.
Well, thank you, Miami, for those really interesting introductions and for giving us a word to start. First of all, I'm Camilo Navarro. Chile, industrial designer, and today I'm the portfolio manager of the Ganesh Lab. Long life enthusiast of technology and medical devices, and a founder of a medical device company called BIOHUNT, which connects premature babies with their moms while they are in state of incubation.
Hi everybody, I'm Marta Ortega. I have the honor to serve in the world of Ganesh Labs. I am the Chief Business Officer of Relay Biosciences, a company I started a while ago. Let's not keep numbers. We are public. We have a human health and agricultural platform fighting for food security and fighting for global health. And my background, as Marcus pointed out, is an international background. I'm from Barcelona originally, so I have the privilege to have been an entrepreneur in the Boston area, which truly is a privilege and a victory.
Hey, all right, hello Miami. I'm Jose Estavi. I am currently the Chief Business Officer at Cypro. We're a venture-backed Silicon Valley company bringing AI to be able to include all people in personalized medicine. And I'm also the co-founder with Carolina Larco, who's sitting here in the audience of Latinos in Bio, a nationwide organization. And if you are going to be at JP Morgan, please get on our mailing list so that you can be invited to our big reception on January 10th that we're doing with Latinx VC. And for the balance of this evening, I think I'm going to be the moderator, along with Michael, for questions. And I want to welcome everybody on both places. I'm sorry, the last thing I should have said is Miami. I'm from Westchester. I went to Southwest Miami High and Rockaway Middle School. So it's nice to be connected virtually back to my hometown. And I think we are now going to go into a few questions to motivate discussions between the two places. And I think Miami's going to go first.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jose. Actually, I think the first question, I may turn it back to y'all there in Cambridge. So I wanted to really kind of take this off. I think two things. One I want to talk about, is the fact that, I think we all believe innovation is everywhere. We've heard this, I think, a few times. Latin American companies to the U.S. ecosystem, and how do you think that can make it better?
So, as I said, I've been sitting in a privileged position and witnessing technologies that have been developed in Latin America and how some of them made it to the US market. And the first thing that was clearly an arbitrage is the ability to do so much more with so much less in Latin America. And it's the reality of things. So I think there is an opportunity to serve a very large market like the United States while doing parts of that value creation chain in other geographies where there may be an opportunity to, with less investment, get farther. What I like very much about entrepreneurs in Latin is that they are very pragmatic and they get to proof of concept and product very fast. And I think that's valuable when they come to the United States.
If I might add, there are 60 million Latinos in the United States, and that's only 10% of the 660 million that are in Latin America. So if you test market here, there's a very big market to take it to in Latin America. There may be some issues of scale or access in terms of health infrastructure, but I think these two markets can be connected. And I think on the stage, I think we all share a common Latino root. Marta's co-founder is from Mexico, from Ciudad Mexico. And so I think we're here. And in fact, I have a Canadian friend who likes to say, we walk among you, right? A lot of people don't even realize sometimes that we're Latino, right? But we are here and we're in every state and everywhere in the US. And so I think it's a natural bridge. And I think it's very important to cross that bridge. And so, Michael, I'm going to take the second question and I'm going to toss it back over to you all over there, which is, what does innovation mean for you in the biotech landscape? What kinds of ideas are inspiring you right now in the space, from an investor and from an operator perspective?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there's so many things, right? I mean, biotech is really taken off, right, exponentially. We're really seeing, I think, unmet needs being truly met, right? We're starting to see diseases that we weren't able to tackle previously before, right? I think things like neurodegenerative diseases, right? We're actually starting to see medicines that can actually just really have a meaningful impact on patients. Like, really gets me excited. Another area that really gets me excited is gene therapy, right? Gene editing, right? I think we're starting to actually see real impact with these types of technologies that have almost been a pipe dream for some time, right? We're actually starting to see some realization. So I mean, there's so much innovation. I think we could probably talk about this for hours. But let me go ahead and turn this over to Artie.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Gene editing is an interesting one. I think, I'm going to make it specific to CRISPR. Because CRISPR originally started off as a tool that people didn't think would be therapeutic, right? It was a way to ask questions scientifically in a basic cell-like fashion and try to get answers. And that's since developed over the past decade to probably one of the most successful therapeutic modalities, right? And quote-unquote potentially raw financial market. And every single major CRISPR gene editing therapeutics company sitting at a multi-billion-dollar market cap. That took, roughly a decade, maybe over a decade's worth of time to take technology that originally had a specific use case that was completely different from what it is today, right? And the researchers really spent time and energy. I think that kind of work with CRISPR has really been phenomenal.
I'll keep riffing on that because I think the theme is broadly applicable to at least like what we're in the business of in therapeutics, which is identifying when someone has, when, let's say CRISPR, for example, suffers from the fact that it's too large to fit into existing capsids, and you only know that because someone first tries to do that, and then you say, okay, well, this isn't working, but a lot of people want it to work, therefore, can you distill down the thing that technologically would make it work, and then you actually fund that. That is the formation of a company, and everyone gets around that. And I think there's just building on these little iterations, and ideally as investors, like we look at opportunities where a little iteration unlocks something much more powerful disproportionately on the other side of doing that. So I think generally I look at innovation as something that does exactly that. It can come in many different flavors, but it also means that if you might be really early on the innovation cycle, and depending on how long you want to be involved with that thing, that may not necessarily be where you end up wanting to focus, but I think it also depends on what stage you're investing at as well.
I mean, one disadvantage of sitting in the end is that you have to follow, great answers like that come before you. I'll take broader take. Innovating to me is like a mindset. It's like my broader take is it's like doing something new. Like a new device. A new method, like a new science. We just heard one example of applying maybe existing technologies, AI, automation, to a new process, right? That's one example of innovating. Discovering CRISPR at the first place, was innovative. Application of an existing discovery, to a new application is innovation. To me, it's something new, and to me, mindset. And as everybody said, I think we all find it very, very exciting. And we think earlier stage biotech has a lot of innovation. I think innovation could happen, of course, in any stage of development in biotech, pharma. But we think particularly, earlier stage is just there's so much room for innovation. And maybe the last thing I would say, linked to the theme of the event, sometimes it could be doing something new in a new geography. That could be an example of innovation. Just my broad take on how I perceive innovation.
No, I think that's great. That's right. One of the things you started to mention there, I think, is also data, right? The way that AI computation data can really enable the creation of medicines and treatment of patients, and really how we're caring for and curing patients. I think that's something that really just emerges of tech and healthcare, right? Tech and biotech, right? I think it's something that's really exciting. I think that's something that really can be done across the world. There's so many places where there's such great technology, where these areas can converge. Really brilliant minds working on these things across these kind of multiple different disciplines. So there's really so much going on right now. I think in biotech and just generally in space, it's going to be exciting times for years to come. Do we have any thoughts from our friends back there?
I would say maybe this is self-interest, but the application of AI in medicine seems to be a thesis that is only just hitting its stride. AI is about pattern recognition, and it never gets tired the way doctors and nurses do. And so from reading your radiograph to reading your EKG, it's helping doctors do a much better job detecting disease earlier and personalizing medicine, so that there can be better outcomes, which is particularly important for the Latino community. I'm mindful that you're sitting in Miami and about half the population there carries genes that people are studying extensively because they offer a clue to potential new modalities for medicine, but they also offer a huge challenge in terms of what standard treatments are, because they're not very efficacious. There's a lot of patient variability that AI can really help with. Why don't we move to the next question? We've had some other great ones. Do you want to take the next one, or do you want to open up to questions from the audience?
Yeah, one of the other things we wanted to talk about was what we as investors are interested in, to kind of share this knowledge of what we look for in companies, and I think also really importantly in founders and in teams, right? So I think hearing from the panel up here today, kind of sharing what we're typically looking for and what we really find valuable in companies would be great. So like I said, team is something that I look for first, right? It's who's working on this, who are the founders, right? What are their backgrounds, how well do they work together with one another? That's something I find really important. Also obviously the underlying technology and how well it's been validated, but again, I think that one of the very first things I'm most interested in, and gets me excited, is the
founding team, and having a really solid founding team. So with that, I'd love to hear from the rest of the panelists here. You know, what is it that you look for in founders or in a founding team of startups that really gets you excited about potentially investing? Artie, I'll let you go ahead and start that off.
Yeah, I can take that one to start. Team is obviously everything, right? One of the first questions I like to ask founders, honestly, is what's important to you, right? Why are you getting into this? So if you're a professor, you want to continue to run your lab because you're interested in just deploying this technology, and it doesn't really matter to you who does it as long as it goes and helps a patient one day or has a use case. Or do you want to be the CEO or the CSO or the CTO, but you want to go into the company and be in the shoes of the individual who's guiding those decisions day to day. And I think that mental kind of psyche and understanding not only who the co-founding members of the company are and what's important to them, but how do they layer that in with complementary skill sets from other people. I think starting a company is obviously very hard. There's a lot of things that go into it. There's a scientific component, there's a technological component, there's the storytelling component, and I think we can all appreciate that you need to have a team that's able to really layer in all of that, right? I don't know what you guys think, but often really good stories make a lot of sense, and companies are successful because the story has been told well, and honestly sometimes that's the exact opposite, where the technology and the opportunity might be fantastic, but the way it's being positioned in an external facing role is not the best fit and that type of outfit. And so I think marrying the technology piece of whatever the company is really focusing on with someone who can really craft that story in a good way is pretty important to just get the activation energy off the ground. What do you think, George?
Yeah, a couple of things come to mind. I mean, I guess if the value of the company is based off of them applying a certain technological approach or doing something for the first time, then clearly from a expertise perspective, the founder or the person involved with the company needs to be really well suited to go ahead and accomplish that, right? And I think maybe just as a general term, if you're evaluating somebody for their ability to execute something challenging, you look at prior history, and ideally you see that they've been a strong performer in an area that's been challenging, and ideally they'll continue to mirror that. I think creating a company is incredibly difficult, and it's really easy to make mistakes and cut corners, but it's not easy to know which corners you can cut. And it requires an army of people to do it, and so I think the best founders are ones who are very humble in what they don't know and proactively seek out experts who can actually teach them from their prior mistakes, so that you basically avoid as many mistakes as possible. They need to be open to feedback on that as well, and a fast learner. I think without those things, there's a lot of mistakes that will get made.
And maybe I can piggyback on what George said and maybe add something to it. Very important point. I think investment landscape itself is like evolving. It's shifting. I mean, look at this stage. Like all PhDs. Like science background. So we often get pretty deep. Like into the science, technology of the companies, and the founders who kind of realize that there is maybe something to be learned, not from just us, like our advisor network along the way. So that's something that we like, essentially seeing that potential for growth. And broadly, I would always say to the founders, your job is to create conviction to not just investors, to everybody, to your future employees, like, to the team, that you could do this, and always something is missing. Even the companies that I start myself, sometimes I talk to my colleagues, and I was like, if I want to judge, like, especially earliest stage, not everything is checked. Like there's always unknown. There's always, and that's what makes it exciting, right? Because there's room for innovation. So realizing that, I would say, team, science, the opportunity to go after, overall, they create conviction that, okay, this team, this package, this idea, has a chance to succeed. And that's broadly the criteria, like that we look at. Like
I think that's right. That's great. And George touched on something there. Willingness to take feedback. I have to say, I just want to second that. That's absolutely critical. You can't over-exaggerate how important that really is. Jose, do y'all have anything to add?
Well, I think for us, one of the things that is really relevant to find in a founder is the sense of ownership of the issue, of the problem, of the situation that one's solving. And with ownership, I mean not only the drive to bring the idea to fruition, but the kind of overall mission of how to bring it into the world. Even recognizing that the blind spot that they might have and the lack of, for example, skills that need to be compensated with team, but that specific trait of feeling absolutely owner of the idea and feeling that he or them or she is the one to actually bring it into the world is one big asset in terms of bringing more people into the project and bringing more people into the company and actually motivate both the team and all the partners, including investors and industry, to ride with them and to bring it to the world.
I support the idea that a company is made by their people, so people make it or break it. I think it's very difficult to assess a team in the fundraising process. I think that if we could go back in history and be with the Steve Jobs, I don't know if the criteria we have described today would make him a good candidate, or even Bill Gates. So I think that we have to have a very open mind and be patient in assessing people. And not only flashy objects make the final finish line.
Yeah, I really want to support what Juanita is saying. My friends in Miami, I really think as investors you have a really tough job. I really appreciate what you do because you make decisions with such limited information. You want to see people in action. I think accelerators are great so that you get to see people over time, so that you not only get an initial impression, but you can see what they're like over a period of time. And I'll share and support something Juanita said as an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. I sort of think of this, we do partnerships with their amount. I generally think of, do they have a customer I want, or can they get to a customer that I wouldn't be able to get to on my own, because that means revenue? Or do they have a product that's going to accelerate my time to market, or make it less expensive for me to get to market? Because my board always wants revenue. The biggest metric that they see for impact is adoption. Sometimes it's the opinion leaders, later on it has to do with people who are bringing you in for pilot, but they want to see is clinical adoption, and they want to see change. And so I think with entrepreneurs, like many other things, you really want to have people who are persuasive and are going to focus on the things that they said that they were going to do next year.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. So beyond the founding team, obviously, as you said, team is everything. It's obviously not absolutely everything. It's definitely at the top of the pyramid, extremely important. But beyond just team, I mean, I'd love to hear what everybody else, what do you look for when you're doing diligence? First, take a look at these early stage companies, right? As I said, with limited and imperfect information. What are some things? I mean, something I often look for. Are you really addressing an unmet need? Right? Is it truly an unmet need, and how deeply do you really understand what that need is, or whatever that problem is that you're solving? Are you truly becoming an expert, or are you an expert in whatever that particular problem is that you're working on? Right? And that's something I often look for. But Artie, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you look for?
Yeah. Question. I think probably the number one thing, to be honest, is how well do you understand the technology as the person who's pitching the story. And so I think that's a very scientific, granular question. It's something like looking at head-to-head comparative data to other folks who have done work in the same space. It's a little bit of a test of everything. If the headline is no one else is doing this, I sometimes almost have a knee-jerk reaction as it's almost too good to be true. And so showing that, not only have you generated data to whatever your product is, and compare that to whatever the competitor, quote unquote, is, that we've done it in a way that's scientifically or technologically rigorous and convincing to the audience as us investors, but also potential partners. that showcases that not only do you know your talent really well, you're able to, up front point that up, and that's almost like I don't want to say it's the money slide, but in some ways, if that's up front and center pretty early, I think it hits a lot of the boxes of individuals understanding their space, understanding their work product, understanding who else is working in it, which is super important. And you're only as good as the folks around you, and you have to be cognizant of the others in the space. So, George, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, maybe just to take it in a different direction. One of the things that I've done as a founder, but then I also do as an investor, is as much end market testing as possible. There's sort of like this lean startup model where you kind of just create something where you basically create a hammer and then go looking for nails. And I prefer to taking the other approach, which is defining where the unmet need is and then making a purpose-built thing to go ahead and address that. There's a couple ways you can do that. If it's in therapeutics, for example, there's a couple different end markets. There's the patients who are the end markets, but ultimately there's going to be the clinicians that are looking at the data set that's been generated for that therapeutic that they then have to decide whether they want to put that into patients. And so defining like what you're talking about with the unmet need with them, and then understanding what it would take to convince them to go ahead and take your product into their patients, or talking to the pharmaceutical companies that are the ones acquiring that potential asset, or even going to the very next step in that company's journey and talking to the investors that would typically be investing at that next stage, and aligning on, okay, are these, like, what would it take for you to invest in this company? Okay, it would take this data, these milestones. Now, can you build a plan, and is it feasible to accomplish these milestones with what's available to you, with the team, infrastructure that you have access to? And then only investing in the company if all of that seems rational and that path is actually laid out, and you know there's someone on the other side that if you accomplish that would be interested in what you built. So that's kind of a framework that I at least use for investing.
I would say two things. I mean, the first one is the good news is the earlier stage life science health kind of landscape, investment landscape is pretty diverse right now. So there are people who like different things. Some maybe kind of indication, kind of asset centric, and we talk about this all the time. Some like us, more focus on platforms, platform technologies, where early on the very precise application of it may be unclear. So we are more in the camp of, if you land on exciting, innovative science technology and you have the right team to develop it, you will trust you to figure out what is the right application of the technology. So for me personally, similar to George, because of my background, of course I'm biased, right? Because the companies that I started all in the therapeutic space, and unlike the companies that have a product that they can go to the market and test, a lot of them there's no product essentially. Product is the platform, right? Is the science, is the innovation. So to wrap it up, I get excited, I get seduced by innovative science, technology that could have a lot of potential. We could see it with the founder where it could go.
That sounds right. That's right. Is there anything else that we'd like to add from our friends in Cambridge, or we can also open it up to Q&A here?
I think on this side we want to transition to the Q&A. Hear what people who came to the event. What's on their mind? They're investors, they're entrepreneurs. What's on your mind? What do you want to know?
Abre.
Back in the back.
Espérate, abre un poquito. Ajá, abre un poquito. Ahí quédate.
Do you want to ask how you did in your pitch?
Hi, I have a question. So we've seen that the tech companies who are on the software side have been decimated in public markets. I don't have much experience in the biotech side, so what's going on with biotech and how is that impacting people here at this event who are looking to raise capital for their startups?
I'll start to address this. I think I talk a lot about this, so I'll give my best go. Yeah, I mean, tech, like biotech, right, has been also decimated. Although recently we've seen a little bit back an uptrend. There was a recent set of numbers I saw recently, some data in regards to the biotech market overall. The losses of the total biotech market, I think, which was about 1,000 companies that were included in this analysis. And then the losses of Facebook, I think something around 6 $600 billion that Facebook's lost, and the entirety of the biotech market lost something around about the same thing, right? So, yeah, a different scale, obviously, in terms of what we're talking about, but, I think generally things that are, truly on the cutting edge, innovation, the public markets have been struggling, right? And I think that's trickled down, we've already seen this, it's trickled down to, later stage investments. But at least I don't know tech, so I'm not going to say I do. But at least in biotech for the earlier stage, I think we're seeing a little of an off-risk attitude to some degree, but generally I think it's remained relatively robust for early stage, and especially company creation. I'll let these guys talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think the thing that has been the most notable for the biotech market, from at least from my perspective, so I entered into venture capital as a career, still kind of in the COVID bubble. A lot of companies were getting funded. I think you saw a lot of generalist investors put capital in, and everyone wanted to have a piece of the next Moderna, kind of get a flagship, right, as they saw the valuation and that type of opportunity. I think what we're seeing now is coming out of that. Obviously, there's been some sort of risk adjustment, which is not totally uncommon if you kind of look at the history of public markets in general. Things always ebb and flow. Companies are still getting funded, but I think, at least from my vantage point, it's just taking a little bit longer. And that's okay. I think it actually lets the companies that are going out there and pitching fundraising really refine the opportunities. And I don't want to say that only the companies that deserve to get funded are getting funded today versus maybe 2 years ago. But I think there's a bit more of an emphasis on what is the actual use case of whatever it is that you're pitching and trying to sell and go out there and trying to really refine that. So I think, to my point, we're seeing a bit of an uptick back up after it did down, honestly, in quote-unquote crash, if you will. And I think that uptick back up is really emphasizing what does that opportunity look like? Can you raise the right type of money to go and do that?
Yeah, I mean, the therapeutic space is fascinating because ultimately all these companies are invested in and go public, and they ride off of a dream and a hope that at one point there will be a drug that is getting sold to patients, but for a very, very long time, the company's real value is actually negative because it's more likely to fail and not be worth anything. And so it's all about how much you believe in the therapeutics that they're building are ultimately going to be sold someday, whereas every other company is valued on some multiple of the amount of money that they're actually bringing in from people each year, whereas a biotech company might exist for 10 to 15 years and be a public company for 5 to 10 without ever actually making money. So when you have a bull market combined with a few companies that make a ton of money because of the vaccines and COVID, you have a massive inflation in valuation for a lot of companies. And then when the whole market crashes and then you realize like, oh wait, a ton of these companies just don't actually have good drugs behind them, then everything kind of falls down. So I think the repercussions of that are you now have a lot of capital because there was a ton of venture capital raised during that period, because the story you would tell the investors who are giving you the money to invest on their behalf is that, look at the market, biotech's so hot right now. So you have all that capital, and now actually if you're one of these venture firms, you can invest in a public company that's at the same value, that has a clinical asset, that's the same valuation of a Series B or a Series C company, where there's a lot more inherent risk there. And so actually you can buy that company that's at like an 80% discount. And so that then makes it a lot harder for companies at an earlier stage to then raise money because they inherently have less than those more mature companies. So I do think it makes it a lot more challenging. I think my stance is that companies that are more asset focused will be, I guess, more resilient to the current market, but things come in cycles, so wait another 8 years and things will look good again.
Yeah, my broad take, maybe contrarian a little bit, but not by much, which is, in every market goes up and down, we still do the same thing. We love innovation, we love early stage investments. I think there are always risks and there are always opportunities, and I think the nature of those kind of fluctuates based on where the market, where the general sentiment is. Of course, it's obvious that when the valuation is going to drop in public market, there is a trickle-down effect, kind of like makes it harder for even earlier stage entrepreneurs to start companies to raise funds. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think, kind of like it's a good filter on the quality of the ideas, on the people who really want to do it. So we think there is opportunity even when the market is down. And even if you think about the kind of traditional investors, when I say when others are greedy, you should be cautious, and vice versa. So we think even in the down market, based on my broad take, there's opportunities in early stage biotech of all sorts.
There's always going to be diseases to be cured, right? So there's always opportunity in that regard. So we have another question up here in the front.
We're actually taking one question in Cambridge.
Hey, we had one in Cambridge stood up a little bit ago, and I think that's probably going to be our last question from this group. We seem to have people who want to get back to the network.
Hello everyone, my name is Wasim and I work in biotech. And my question is, the roadmap for the new entrepreneurs. Like for instance, work in a company and you have an idea, but the company doesn't want to go that way. And now, starting a company is like a gamble. It doesn't matter how good the idea is. It really matters what kind of marketing partners you have with you who are going to sell your idea and everything. So my question is what's the roadmap? Like how much you should refine your idea before you want to, quit everything and work on your idea and start looking for investors and so there's a whole roadmap that I think that has more success. So I would really like to get some feedback on how we should take the things from the idea in your head to making a company and getting investors.
So I'm going to take the first bite at that. Gene Fitzgerald, who's a professor at MIT, is currently the head of MIT's Singapore program in Singapore. Mostly lives there now and runs that large operation. Wrote a book called Inside Real Innovation. And in that book, he said, until you get the term sheet, don't quit your day job.
Thank you to Boston, thank you, Michael, thank you to all the panelists for the valuable insight for all the participants here. I want to wrap it up, just stay on for a second. A big thank you to everybody OK. A big thank you to the large effort the startups did to come from Latin America, from different parts, from Uruguay, from Argentina, from Mexico, from Costa Rica, from Chile, to come here and take this big challenge. So big applause for all the startups. Incredible work. And then of course, once more, a big thank you to all who helped to make this happen, to the entire Venture Cafe team here in Miami and in Boston, to my team. They have been working relentless not easy on this distance to make everything happen. So thank you very much to the Venture Cafe team, to my team. Thank you very much. And last but not least, of course, a big thank you to curious enough to see what is happening there. Why do they have the guts to come to Miami and say there is innovation happening in Latin America? I hope we convinced you a little bit of that. And with that, I want to wrap it up. A big thank you, and now for 2 minutes, see what has happened over the last 2 days in this video. We'll see you all next year again. Thank you very much.
Extraordinary. It's fantastic to be able to meet other entrepreneurs and most of all investors that are interested in what we're doing.
Thank you to Ganesha to invite us. Really good level of the event. So thank you, Venture Cafe, for having us.
Super happy to be here. I hope to repeat this incredible experience.
¿Qué vas? Sí. No, hombre, ¿por qué?
Me voy a necesitar en la zona, ¿no?
Ya, te vamos ya.
Ah, sí. Voy a tomar un cafecito. No alcanza, claro. Ah, ok. Hasta después del mundial, por lo menos.
Hasta después del mundial. No, perdón. Necesito que me pague.
No, pero no lo estás haciendo por onda.
Perdón.
Vos dijiste.
Ah, dijiste por onda.
Eso bueno, bueno. ¿No hacemos la frente nacional sonar o
Sí, bueno, justamente hoy estaba haciendo doble fiesta. Sí, me necesitaba pintar la mano, pero estábamos acá. Si puedo yo voy, pues ahí ni bueno.
Oye. Salió bien, no importa. No importa, porque el tremendo proyecto a todos nos puede pasar que nos vamos a la mierda. Filo, tú, Carenalga, me corto el cuerpo.
Me pidieron.
Tengo el tremendo proyecto. A todos nos puede pasar que nos vamos a la punta del cerro. Filo, te paraste, ayer me hiciste la raja.
Perdón, ¿me das las tarjetas de las cámaras? No, solamente quiero grabar. Yo grabé en la computadora.
Una menos da lo mismo.
No, dijo, a todos nos puede pasar. Sí, dijo, a todos nos puede pasar. Somos emprendedores.
Ayer fue la estrella, yo puso nervioso. Esta wea así, aquí somos dos personas.
Somos todos emprendedores.
Echémosle palas.
No, y somos emprendedores y en el emprendimiento pasa eso. A veces colapsamos, a veces estamos bien, estamos con mucha presión. Está perfecto, sigamos. Chao.
Sigamos a todo el show, el chao y sigo adelante.
Sí.
Así que vamos nomás.
Sí. Frente en alto
estamos todos preocupados porque tú eres bien, bueno. Así que no tenemos que ir a para acá.
Muchas gracias. ¿Cuándo te carretera ahora?
Sí, pero
¿cómo no
creo que ¿vino la baño, no?
Acá está la
se fue.
Sí, que se fueron. Voy a la al hotel, hallamos su maleta. ¿Cuándo te carretera?
Hacen que hotel, eso queda para allá, ¿o no?
¿Y por qué no vas tú a carretear también con él?
No, porque está con un amigo de ese. Igual te quiero la casa,
¿Necesitas ayuda con algo?
Vamos, muchas gracias. Nos vemos, muchas gracias.
¿Necesitas ayuda con algo?
No, linda, ¿por qué?
No, ya, no sé, vamos a ayudar.
Vamos, nomás voy a...
Puedes conectar cámaras.
No, o sea, puedes conectar, no solamente me aparece el switcher porque tengo el input.
Estos cables van donde mismo, ¿no? En la caja esa.
Los cables son de Ariel y van en la caja acá.